But we can be a little bit happier with our final TED-style zippy speaker. It's our beloved Dr. Darren Morton, who's a colleague of mine from the Lifestyle Medicine Association. He's well known for his work and an international expert on lifestyle medicine. And when I said to Darren, well, Darren, what's your passion? He said, helping people to live their best life. How good is that? So he's going to talk to us about the importance of having a happy brain.
Lucky me, going last. After those stellar presentations, thank you for making it such a tough gig. But I've got a confession to make. My bladder sometimes plays nasty tricks on me. You see, I can be driving in a car and I'm an hour away from home, and I become aware of the fact that I need to go. I need to visit a bathroom. Right, but then I think, you know what, I'm not going to pull over now because I'm a male, and we just keep going. And so I'm trucking down the road and it basically disappears from my periphery. I become unaware of it until I approach my home. And as I turn into the driveway there, all of a sudden, there's something about that familiar bump or whatever it is, and all of a sudden I become very aware that I really need to go to the bathroom. It disappeared for a while, but right now, I really need to go. And so all of a sudden, as I stop the car, get out the door and start to move towards the front door, the pressure begins to really mount here. And then you have this awkward dilemma: do I sprint for it and risk an accident, or do I sort of take it slowly, which is going to take more time, but it's a safer option? Well, when I eventually get to the point where I'm almost at the bathroom door, war breaks out. Right, war breaks out, and as I pound my way through the bathroom door, someone has had the audacity to leave the toilet seat down, and then I get blamed, with all of these circumstances conspiring against me for my aim. Right, so, I don't... Here's the thing. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about right now. Excellent, all right. And those people who didn't put up their hand, that is not true, right? We all know what this is about. Well, do you know that there is actually not a word that describes that intensifying sensation of needing to go to the bathroom as you approach the bathroom door? And so about 10 years ago, I made one up, right? And I knew that, we were going to have Professor Brodie here. He's got all these transpuisms and all the rest of it. I thought, obviously, if you want to make a mark in the world, you need to make up a word. So that's exactly what I've done. So here we go. Here is my word. Let's see if we can get it. It is pyrate. Okay, now pyrate describes an increased desire to go to the bathroom when approaching a bathroom. Now, I know that you're looking at that word thinking, what on earth is that? There's like 2 T's in there. It's like grammatically incorrect. And my response to that is yes, because it's my word. Right? And the Queen's English, she's been playing havoc with me for years. Well, now it's my turn. So this is my contribution. I'd just like to get it out there. Let's say it together. Pyrate. Remember pyrate? I thought just to give this a chance of getting into the dictionary, I've got some other derivatives as well, such as pyrating. That's that bouncing action that you have whilst experiencing pyrate. And then, of course, pyrated is the consequence of prolonged pyrate. But here's the thing. It's not really my bladder that is to blame, is it? In fact, what it is, it's the thing that controls it, which is my brain. It's my brain that is responsible for this nasty phenomenon. In fact, specifically, it's the part of the brain, subcortical regions of the brain, that are also involved in emotion. And this is why our emotional state can actually have an impact on bladder control. So, for example, raise your hand if you ever had the experience of a really emotionally charged moment, like a nasty fright, and then all of a sudden, really, you've had that? I was just putting out my hand to show you what to do. It's never happened to me, but I see. Anyway, so we know there's this connection between this, bladder function, emotional state, but it's not just a bladder function. We also know it's gut function too, isn't it? Which is, as we've learnt, that home to 100 trillion bacteria that we live symbiotically with. But not only is it bladder, bowel, it's other things as well. Other autonomic processes, including immune function. And this is an area that particularly fascinates me. Some of the studies that are coming out in this space are really quite intriguing. One of my favourites, though, was conducted by researchers from Ohio State University. And what they did is they invited 48 couples to come in for a really fascinating study. So I'd like you to welcome our first couple. Give them a round of applause. Hey! This is a bit impromptu here, but so what happened is they invited these couples in and they said, thanks for coming. Now, we'd just like you to show us your forearm for a moment. So they held the forearm out. They had a little device where they created a suction blister wound, a standardised wound on the forearm of the couple. Then they took them in for an hour of counselling. Now, on the first occasion, essentially the counsellor just evoked warm, fuzzy feelings. So it was like, where did you guys meet? And have you got any kids? And tell us about where you go on holiday. What fun stuff do you do together? And after about half an hour of this, the room was just aglow. Everyone was rocking backwards and forwards, holding hands, singing Kumbaya. All right, so this was just a great experience. They sent them on their way, and then they were monitoring to how long those wounds would take to heal. Then, a few weeks later, after the wounds had healed, they brought them back and they said, hey, thanks for coming again. We just need to give you another little blister. They administered the blister wounds again. And this time, unbeknown to the couple, the counsellor was going to pick a fight. So he turns to the woman. She says, how do you feel? Do you feel that your husband opens up and communicates effectively with you? And she's like, argh! And then he turns to the man and says, how do you feel about your wife's spending habits? And it's like, argh! And once he found the fire, he stoked it, and then let it burn, baby, burn. And then sent them on their way. What was the outcome of that? You know, all of us married couples, you know, we know that once an argument's over, it's over, isn't it? I mean, I've been married 22 years, and I can honestly say that they've been 22 of the happiest years of Sarah's life. But what we know is that, you know, obviously these things drag on, but this is what they found, which really is quite intriguing. Those blister wounds took 30% longer to heal. After a 1 hour animated debate with your spouse, 30% longer to heal. I told that study to a gentleman one time. He said, well, that's it. He says, I'm not arguing with my wife anymore. And I said, good luck with that, buddy. And he said, no. He says, from now on, I'm just going to calmly explain why I'm right. I don't know how that's working for him. But here's the question. We have known for many, many decades that adverse emotional states, negative effects, is associated with poor physical health outcomes. Was it that was happening in this particular study? Or was it something more intriguing? Was it that the positive effects, the positive emotional states that were evoked contributed to positive health outcomes, increased immunosurveillance? Well, there's increased science indicating that that's the case. And obviously it's probably a combination of the both. But look at this. Here's a review by Van Hooven, who actually found and looked at what's the relationship between positive effect, and if you want a cheesy word for that, happiness and positive physical health outcomes. This is what he says. The effect of happiness on longevity, concludes after this review, in healthy populations is remarkably strong. The size of the effect is comparable to that of not smoking. Isn't this incredible? In fact, what we're discovering is that positive effects, positive emotional states, are an independent protective factor for health outcomes. That gets me excited. Why does that get me excited? Well, because what we're discovering is that lifestyle medicine has a huge amount to contribute to this space. In fact, what we're discovering is that while historically lifestyle medicine is focused on healing the body, what we know is that what's good for the body is also exceptionally good for our brains. And so, we've learnt things like this. Food feeds your mood, as we've discovered tonight. Not only is food as medicine for treating physical ailments, it actually feeds your mood. It's really good for your brain. Motion creates emotion. Not only is physical movement, right, physical activity associated with the management, treatment, reversal of about 35 different physical conditions, we know it's also one of the most powerful antidepressants we have available to us. Not only is sleep and mindfulness associated with calming inflammatory responses in the body, it's also associated with calming the mind. In other words, as I said, the tenets of lifestyle medicine are not just great for the body, they're also great for the brain. Which leads me to the big idea that I'd like to propose. And that is that lifestyle medicine should focus on promoting happy brains, not just healthy bodies, for 3 reasons. 1, everyone wants to be happy, which means that lifestyle medicine becomes incredibly appealing. Number 2, Because isn't this the end goal of lifestyle medicine in the first place? Isn't this what we're about? Helping people to achieve their best lives, their happiest lives? Because as we know that without mental health, there is no health at all, as already been stated. And so I think that lifestyle medicine, if we capture this space and recognise and place more emphasis on the fact that we can produce healthy brains here, it can really leverage the capacity of lifestyle medicine to change this world. Well, at least that's what my brain, my biome, and even my bladder think.
Thanks, Darren. Thank you very much. Finishing off on a nice, happy note. Now it is time to get you guys involved.